Apple removes restrictions on crypto and NFT apps. This is huge for adoption, and some crypto bills are running into roadblocks. I'll give you the details there. And Warren Buffett is retiring. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, I'm sure many of you saw the news, but Warren Buffett is retiring. He's stepping down from Berkshire Hathaway after 6 decades. Now, I know this is not a crypto-specific news item, but it's very significant given Warren's comments about Bitcoin and crypto over the years. He's called it rat poison squared and much more. Yet he's made investments into neobanks, which are involved with crypto, such as Nubank. And he made some very interesting statements today, which I think are very good and some great takeaways. Warren has always been incredible when it comes to investment principles, and I've learned so much from him. For example, be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And him and Charlie Munger obviously have been very successful. Charlie Munger passed away, of course. But one of the statements that Buffett made, he says, regarding the recent stock market volatility due to tariffs, he said it's really nothing. This has not been a dramatic bear market or anything of the sort. Remember, some people were saying, this is a bear market, the bull market's over, right? And remember what I've been saying regarding that is show me the data, right? I've been showing you the data that the bull market's not over, not my feelings or emotions, not the sentiment, but what is the charts and the on-chain data and much more telling us. And we've been tracking global liquidity and much more. So great statements here from Warren. And he expanded on this further in in his full statement today. He continued saying, if it makes a difference to you if your stocks are down 15% or not, you need a slightly different investment philosophy. So I often tell you guys to, when in doubt, zoom out, right? And that markets move in cycles and nothing goes down forever and nothing goes up forever. So you just got to play the cycles, and you have to understand that principle, because if you're panic selling and FOMOing in, you're doing it wrong. And we've often talked about on this podcast, buying the blood on the streets, buying the fear. For example, when the tariff crash happened, that was the time to buy. And I told you guys I was buying some altcoins. And when it gets greedy again and the market's euphoric and everybody's like, oh, it's going to keep going higher, that's the time to sell, right? So you want to have a plan, and you want to make sure you're following the metrics on the charts and the on-chain data to validate your thesis, of course, not playing it by ear or, following your gut, but what is the data telling us? Now, he also made an interesting statement. He said there could be things that would happen in the US that would make us want to own a lot of other currencies. Initially, you're like, wait a minute, is he talking about crypto or Bitcoin? He was actually talking about foreign currencies. But it's funny, he still can't say, maybe Bitcoin is also an alternative into other currencies. He's not going to do it, because we know his wealth and the way he's operated for 6 decades has been the traditional way in the TradFi market. So crypto and Bitcoin is a complete 180 from how he has done things. And remember, as the tech sector grew, he was late to the tech sector. So he didn't get everything perfect, and he did not make a ton of money in the tech sector. He eventually got into Apple stock and much more. But it's just to show that no one's perfect and they don't get everything right. And I understand from Warren's perspective, as someone who's made billions in the TradFi world doing things a certain way, and at his age, he's not going to pivot to crypto. He's going to ride off into the sunset and, end his career as it is here. And what a successful one, by the way. There's some other takeaways, but it's a lot. You guys can watch the interview. It's on CNBC and all the mainstream media outlets. So you can definitely check that out. But end of an era here for Warren. But as I said, I've learned a lot. So it's important to study some of the principles he shares when it comes to investing. They can really help you to navigate markets, guys. All right. Big news around Apple, folks. This is significant. Apple eases NFT crypto rules for iOS apps following antitrust ruling. Apple has loosened restrictions on developers' ability to offer iPhone and iPad apps directing users to external purchasing methods, including for NFTs. So Apple was charging like 33%, taking a huge cut of the fees that if these apps were offering NFTs and other things, and that hinders adoption, right? Many of these developers are not going to want to build apps on the iOS store, but having this removed is huge for adoption. You could see an explosion in new apps around crypto and NFTs and much more. And this is, of course, an on-ramp. People use apps on their smartphones or their iPads or tablets, and Apple's a huge part of that, right? There are many iPhone users and iPad users around the globe. So this will open things up significantly for the adoption of crypto. When you think about all the cool apps people can build with Web3 technology and NFTs and blockchain and different crypto apps, not having this restriction and it's being opened up will be huge. And Apple's not going to be taking a massive cut of the revenue as well. So the incentive is going to be stronger for developers to build things. So this is really incredible news. So let me give you some more details. In an email obtained by Decrypt, Apple notified iOS developers that apps on the United States storefront are no longer prohibited from including buttons, external links, or other calls to action when allowing users to browse NFT collections owned by others. So just a huge win here, folks. I know it seems very simple, but when you think about adoption and the on-ramps and different apps that could bring people into the ecosystem need to be built and they need to have a favorable environment. Here's the favorable environment opening up. This is huge in my opinion. And I hope you guys understand why it's significant for the maturation and growth of the market. Folks, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Uphold. This is a great place. You can buy Bitcoin and altcoins and much more. You can also stake your cryptocurrencies. Uphold has 300 plus cryptocurrencies. They're fully reserved. They don't commingle or lend out your crypto funds, and you can review their transparency report. They also have a great rewards program where you can earn up to 5.25% on stablecoins. And this reward program also allows you to get 24-hour early access to new tokens that they list. And to participate, you have to log into the app once per month, deposit $50 once per month, and trade $50 once per month. And the stablecoins they support include Ripple's RLUSD, you can earn up to 5% there, and USBC, you can earn up to 5.25% there. So great program, and if you'd like to learn more about Uphold and all their services, check out the link in the description. Now, folks, Wall Street giant Franklin Templeton, they are backing Bitcoin DeFi push, citing new utility for investors. So many of you know Franklin Templeton, they have trillions of dollars of assets under management, and they've been launching ETFs, they've been tokenizing and much more. So let me give you some details. As the Dubai Token 2049 conference concludes, one key takeaway is that the narrative around Bitcoin is swiftly expanding beyond its traditional role as a store of value to a potential DeFi asset competing with Ethereum and Solana. Prominent industry players like Franklin Templeton view this development as a positive step, confident it will enhance Bitcoin's utility without diluting its core appeal as a store of value as purists or maximalists fear. Here's a quote. I don't think focusing on Bitcoin DeFi will dilute or complicate Bitcoin's core narrative, Kevin Farrelly, managing principal of blockchain venture capital at Franklin Templeton and VP of digital assets, explained during his keynote speech at BitLayer's side event this week. Instead, it expands Bitcoin's utility for a specific type of investor, one with enough technical sophistication to optimize for yield, security, or custom portfolio needs. So I think this is great, opening up new opportunities for Bitcoin. And it's not for everybody, as he stated here, but those who understand and are sophisticated enough to handle DeFi. And if you can park your Bitcoin on safe DeFi protocols and setups and earn a yield, that would be really great. So I love what I'm seeing here. And if you have these big institutions like Franklin Templeton doing it, it's going to bring a lot of trust. You know, they're going to dot their I's and cross their T's when it comes to security and making sure these protocols are up to par with security and much more. So he continues saying these users aren't replacing the store of value thesis, they're building on it. It's not a narrative dilution, it's an infrastructure evolution. Franklin Templeton is an investor in BitLayer, a bit VM that serves as Bitcoin's computational layer while preserving the mainnet security. It offers features such as faster transaction processing, lower fees, and new functionalities like smart contracts or advanced DeFi integrations, areas that base layer Bitcoin alone doesn't natively support. Look at what the big players are doing. They're financializing these crypto assets, and they're like I said, they're going to dot their I's and cross their T's and make sure everything is set up well here because their reputation's on the line and they have the experience in dealing with custody and security and much more. So exciting to see these things happening. Now, we got some not so good news when it comes to the Bitcoin reserve. So I had reported that Arizona had passed the Bitcoin reserve bill and it just had to go to the governor for a signature. Well, the governor has vetoed it and calls Bitcoin untested and not a sound investment. So, but it's as I've been saying, we're going to see maybe some initial pushback and roadblocks, but the ball is rolling. We're making progress like we've never seen before. And it's just like we see on the federal level. Sometimes you have to keep reintroducing bills and eventually it'll make its way through. But the fact that we got this far, I mean, is incredibly bullish. And eventually, one or two states are going to pass it, and then game theory is going to play out where no one wants to get left behind, especially on the federal level. The federal government is looking to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So while not good in the short term, still good in the long term, given the progress we've made. Now, with regards to the stablecoin legislation, the Genius Act, there's some pushback here, folks. Eleanor Terrett is reporting that Senator Ruben Gallego and 9 other senators just issued a joint statement regarding the updated text of the Genius Act that was released last week, saying they cannot support the bill in its current form. The group notes several concerns, including insufficient provisions on anti-money laundering, national security, and financial system safety. Notably, 4 Democrats on the list supported the bill in its original form during the banking GOP markup in March. Gallego, Warner, Kim, and Blunt Rochester. Democrat Angela also Brooks, a co-sponsor of the bill, did not sign the letter. Here's a quote. "This is all about the political dynamics of President Trump," one Republican Senate aide tells me. The letter comes following major media scrutiny of Trump's various crypto ventures, including a New York Times story that stated Trump's family members could profit heavily from the $2 billion worth of World Liberty Financial's USD1 stablecoin being used for an investment by a foreign fund. It also comes just 2 days after Senate Majority Leader John Toon initiated a process that would expedite a full floor vote on the Genius Act. So quite a few things there. People who were supporting the bill are saying, hey, they can't sign off on this yet because they have concerns. But also it seems like there's a bit of political, gamesmanship happening here. Some Democrats see President Trump and his crypto business, and they're like, wait a minute, we're going to back out of this because this is going to benefit him. So things are starting to get a bit messy here. Hopefully it can come to a resolution. I think, though, we got to make sure this bill is up to par and it doesn't stifle innovation and it's balanced, right? It protects consumers but doesn't stifle innovation. And I'm going to wait for certain experts to weigh in on this bill and that it has everything that it should. But the politics side could get a bit messy, as Democrats may go after Trump because of the crypto business and essentially saying, hey, we're not going to support this because he can benefit directly from it. But again, I'm just stating the facts, right? And what I think may be playing out here. But hopefully they can get this through and it doesn't have any more roadblocks, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, folks, Sam Altman's WorldCoin gets a new Orb Mini and US launch. So WorldCoin, which I'm not a big fan of, in a sense that they have this dystopian setup where you get your retina scan and you get some coins. I've talked about, I don't like the fact that they went around the globe and started, kind of maybe preying on some people who are like, hey, I can get some free crypto tokens. I need money, right? You go to some poor countries and you do that. Of course, people are going to sign up. And I've often stated, I don't see a third party neutral audit here saying that WorldCoin is doing the right thing with the data they're collecting. How the hell do we know what they're doing with it, right? We need that transparency, but let me give you the details. WorldCoin, usable via the World mobile app, is finally launching in the US and making a big splash with a slew of big integrations. US residents can now get their irises scanned to claim some WLD tokens as part of an ongoing airdrop. Iris scanning orbs are set up in Atlanta, Austin, Los Angeles, Miami, Nashville, and San Francisco. Those in the US who pre registered for the World have been airdropped 150 WLD, which is about $150. The for profit firm Tools of Humanity is the developer of World, and the nonprofit World Foundation is behind the WorldCoin token. So, again, not a fan. I don't want to get my iris scanned here. I'm not going to do it, guys. I don't know if any of you have done it, but I'm not going to do it. Now, the token itself could be a good investment. I don't know. You'd have to look at the tokenomics, the charts, and see the adoption that's happening. But obviously, they're coming to the United States because of the favorable environment for crypto now. But the data collection worries me because and I don't know and we've seen WorldCoin get a lot of pushback from different governments around the world. Like, what are you doing with people's data, right? We need that accountability there and that transparency. Again, I'm just being transparent with you guys and I'm telling you how I feel. Some of you may hold the WLD token. I'm not saying it won't do well. I'm just saying that the whole scheme here of how they're going about it, I am not a fan of it and I'm not participating in it. But we'd love to hear what you guys think. Leave your thoughts and comments below, guys. A great way you can support me is by subscribing to my free email newsletter, link in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that covers all aspects of crypto. Knowledge is power, and this course features expert commentary. You will hear from founders, CEOs, and institutional investors. No other course offers this. And you can go at your own pace. You get lifetime access and just a one-time fee. So if you'd like to learn more, go to mycryptocourse.com. Link will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.